thing about Buddy was you had Big Buddy and you had Little Buddy.
What buddy were you getting?
Little Buddy. This is Pop Culture Man Children PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. Sneezy McSneeze face over here is Mr. Emilio Sparks.
Hi.
How are you?
Good now.
I'm glad you got that sneeze out.
Yeah. Ooh. Seasonal fall allergies. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of debilitating sicknesses, let's talk about today's today's theme.
Wow. Segway King.
Today, all right. So, fans of the show know I always
They're not minis.
No, they're not minis. But I always like the co-host to come up with the idea of the mini, because I want, like we've said before, I want from you. I want to know what you are thinking. So I said, Emilio, what would you like to do your? We used to call them minis, but they're not so mini anymore. What would you like to do your special episode on?
Well, I gave you a few options.
Right, and they were all ridiculous and good, and we'll get to some of the other ones.
Oh, we're going to.
So let's talk about this one.
So I was like, hey, you know I'm crazy for Swayze.
And I was like, Patrick Swayze?
The man. Patty Swayze.
I mean, I don't dislike Patrick Swayze. As a matter of fact, I think I'd say I like him, but I was as always, sir, you surprise me.
Why?
Because you come out with things that I'm like, all right. I mean, that's what I enjoy about you, which is, other than like wrestling, which you mainline in, a lot of the other stuff you consume is really eclectic. You know what I mean? It's like I want to talk about Patrick Swayze. I was like, all right, I'll learn about Patrick Swayze. I watched on the Paramount on demand, Paramount Network, I Am Patrick Swayze, which I didn't realize is part of a series. There's also I Am Chris Farley. There's a bunch of I Ams. They're actually really good.
Really good documentary.
Really, for a series to be that well done as a documentary.
But this one,
well, because
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they got some good people. They got his wife, his brother,
Rob Lowe,
his manager,
C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah, they got some good people and some good footage. Demi Moore.
Dem. Come on. Dem.
Still looks amazing.
She does.
Yeah. I wonder if she's still kissing 12-year-olds. That's a reference to a former episode.
Oh, such a good episode.
But if you want to know what we're talking about, you could always just Google Demi Moore kisses children. I guess here's my history with P. Swayze, okay? When I was a kid, we had a copy of Ghost on VHS. It was, we were bootleggers, so we would rent it, then play it on one VCR and record it off the other. Had two VCRs together.
So you were into piracy.
Yeah, we were pirates.
Scumbag.
Yeah, so I watched that. For a little kid, I watched Ghost a lot. I was thrilled by it. I don't know, I loved it. I think I was more into the ghostliness of it than like Whoopi Goldberg's comedy or the love story or the famous scene with the fucking clay. But I watched it. Yeah. I watched it a lot as a little kid. And then I never saw Dirty Dancing, and I was dating a girl. This is way back, like the beginning of college, and she was like, "Let's watch it." And we ended up just canoodling. I didn't really get eyes on it. And I saw, this is also weird.
Oh no, I turned down the canoodling when the Swayze movies are on.
You were like, get your hands off me, Swayze's on screen.
I was like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I want to watch Swayze first, then we could canoodle.
Yeah, then we could canoodle. And what else is I saw Tu Wong Fu.
Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
I saw that in the theater.
Really?
They let me in as a kid.
Really?
Nowadays, they're so strict at movie theaters. I think about all the R-rated movies I saw as a child that they just fucking... Little me walked up to a fucking theater and was like, "Can I have a ticket for Tu Wong Fu? Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar." And they were like, "Sure, kid.
Sure, kid. Here you go.
Thanks.
Enjoy this.
Enjoy." They're actually all good in that. Leguizamo and
Wesley
Snipes
and P. Swayze.
Yeah, they're all good in that. And then, of course, there's the great sketch with him and Chris Farley where they're both trying out for Chippendales.
Yep. And Swayze just looks chiseled.
Right. And that's just the brilliance of that sketch is they play it straight.
Yeah.
Because we're laughing at the fact that one guy is chiseled and the other guy is really, really out of shape.
Yeah.
And they're both auditioning for the same thing.
Yeah.
And Swayze's playing it like he's scared.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when his hair was teased and feathered.
Oh my God.
Oh, come on.
And then before our dearly departed friend Joe died, he showed me Point Break one night in his house.
Game changer.
That is a good movie. That's his first bad guy role.
Yeah.
He's a really good actor.
You're just finding this out now?
Yeah, because I guess I always thought of him as a pretty boy.
No.
But
he's
depth.
Good. No, P. Swayze has depth, dude.
Have you seen Outsiders? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I've watched it twice on Ovation this past weekend.
I have not seen Outsiders.
So good. But he's not really
That's a Francis Ford Coppola
Yeah,
movie.
but he's not really in that.
Oh, he's not?
No, he is, but it's not like he's not the focal point. It's C. Thomas Howell and Ralph Macchio.
Oh, okay. Tom Cruise is in that too, right?
Yeah, what a fucking cast that is.
Oh my God.
Emilio Estevez, Tom Cruise, C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio,
That was a who's who.
Patrick Swayze.
In the documentary, Rob Lowe says we thought it was going to be bigger than it was.
Yeah, and it did not do anything.
But it kind of launched all of those guys.
Oh, of course it did. It was like the movie. It was like the prequel to show, like, okay, these are the guys. Like,
This is going to be the crew.
This is the talent.
So
where do you want to begin with this?
it's hard to be. I kind of want to begin with you because this was your suggestion.
Yeah.
What about Buddy? We should say we learned very early on in the documentary that everyone in his life called him Buddy.
He didn't like to be called Patrick.
Right. He had a ranch at some point, and he had his boots said Buddy.
Buddy.
So
Buddy was his nickname.
yeah, and his dad was Big Buddy.
Big Buddy. So he's Little Buddy.
Yeah. So what about Buddy is so interesting to you?
Well, here's the thing that I find interesting that I didn't know.
Yeah.
In the documentary, and they said it, very early on. He was very uncomfortable with the sex symbol tag.
Yes, he was.
And when you look at Patrick Swayze, is he the definition or the embodiment of masculinity? No.
No, that's what I find fascinating about him.
And I like that because look at the biggest movies that he was in where he's sex symbol.
Yeah.
Dirty Dancing.
Yes.
He's a dancer with a soft side.
Right.
He looks like a rogue.
Right.
But he has an emotional sensitivity that not many are privy to.
Right. But we find out that his mother was a dance teacher, and he, as a kid, was a ballet dancer.
Yes.
He was a really talented ballet dancer.
And that's why
and then he fucked up his knee like crazy, and he had to stop.
Yeah, but if you notice, even when he's doing a lot of the dancing and some of the dance videos that they showed in the documentary, there's still a gracefulness after the knee surgery.
No, he obviously the knee surgery was all before he was even in movies. Yeah. So he obviously still knew how to move his body.
But he wanted to do this.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a classically trained ballet dancer.
And it's funny, they show pictures of him as a teenager, and he's hot. He's young.
Always good looking.
He's always good looking, but young him, it's like, you could tell, like, this is...
Like, wow.
And he was like, he had a confidence that I will never understand in my life, because he was just like, I don't give a shit that I'm doing ballet.
Yeah.
And he fucking did it.
Because he enjoyed it. But then he was also the same guy that will ride a horse and fucking work on a farm.
That's what's amazing about him, which is he's androgynous in a way.
Yes.
He has a feminine energy and a masculine energy, and they're not competing at one another. And he's not androgynous leaning towards female like the way David Bowie is. He's androgynous leaning towards male, but even though he's got that sort of masculinity, he's still got that feminine energy. I mean, he's good in Tu Wong Fu. And think like Stallone wouldn't have done that.
No.
Stallone would have said, no way.
I'm not doing this.
But Swayze committed to that.
But he commanded the role too.
Yeah.
And see, like, I know we always make fun of my bromance for Jared Leto and Jason Momoa, but also in the same side too, if you look at it, there's a little Swayze, androgyny in them as well. I see it definitely in Jared Leto, but I don't see it in Momoa. Well, you also have to
He's
watch,
old man.
No, but if you watch more of what Momoa does, there's a sensitivity.
I think there's a hipsterness to him.
Really?
I think he'll do me a nice coffee pour over and play some Coheed and Cambria for me. But I don't feel like that feminine energy that you get from fucking Buddy. I love what they interview the bad guy or one of the bad guys from Roadhouse, and he's like, I thought this guy's a fucking dancer.
Yeah.
And then he's like, then I don't know if this is all myth or not, but he's like, I was like, let's really do it. And supposedly they're really hurting each other.
Up, yeah.
He says he broke Swayze's ribs.
Yeah. No, Swayze was a tough dude. You got to remember one thing, and maybe we don't understand it because we're East Coast, but cowboy culture,
yeah.
It's a fucking different way, man.
But imagine growing up in that and still being like, I'm going to do ballet.
Yeah.
Even though my dad's because his dad was a real masculine
cowboy,
man.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at his father could have been the epitome of the Marlboro Man.
Yeah, his father was good looking too.
Yeah.
His mother was abusive.
Yes.
His mother was his dance teacher, but she was very hard on him and even physically like hit him and stuff.
Yes.
They tell a story early on that his father actually intervened and it was like, don't hit my son again.
Yeah.
But he still loves his mama.
No, of course he does, but
he don't talk bad about her.
No, but I think that's where you see it. I think the hardness comes from his mother.
Yeah.
Which is odd because I think as men we're supposed to be like predetermined that you get your masculinity from your father. But I think in Patrick Swayze's case, he got more of his masculinity from his mother because I guess she had to be hard on him because he was a boy doing ballet early on.
Well, it's funny. Like if you said, okay, you've got two parents. One is a cowboy and the other one is a ballet teacher. Which one is going to make you hard?
You would assume the cowboy.
You would assume the cowboy, but his dad was a sweetheart and his mother was the fucking taskmaster.
And his father gave him the emotional sensitivity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you made that connection. But the way they spoke about the father was he was this rough and rugged man, and you didn't want to cross him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was this sensitivity to Patrick Swayze's dad.
Right.
That he wanted to show it to his kids. He's like, it's okay to be this.
Yeah.
You should be in touch with
Which
your
is
feelings.
true masculinity.
Yes, it is.
Right? Masculinity that you're always nervous about, oh my God, someone's going to take it away from me. Oh my God, someone might think I'm gay. That's very fragile masculinity.
Yes.
Masculinity is the ability to be like, yeah, I'm a fucking ballet dancer and I'm going to fuck your wife.
And that's what Swayze did.
Yeah.
That was Swayze.
I don't think he ever stepped in on somebody's family, but he was.
Well, he was a gentleman.
He was a gentleman, and he apparently hated Hollywood.
Oh, he couldn't stand it.
He said the monkeys in the cages. He was like, I don't want to. His publicist was like, we used to have to beg him, please go to a party, please do this, because he would want to just go back home.
He wanted to go to Houston.
He wanted to do the work
and then go home.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I've been in Texas. It's all right, man.
Yeah, he's a Texas guy through and
through, dude. Houston, Texas is no fucking joke, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if you. I've been traveling a lot for work and fucking.
Yeah,
man. Texas hits different.
Yeah,
hits different.
But you imagine growing up a ballerina.
And a cowboy.
Or ballerina is probably the feminine of it. I don't know what the ballerino.
How about we just say dancer?
A dancer.
How about we just say dancer?
Well, I feel like
we don't need
ballet gets more gets made fun of more. Because you're so nimble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there's dudes like Baryshnikov, they're shredded.
Yeah, that's shredded. No, well, yeah, I mean,
I think they have better bodies than
well, real dancers or
shredded.
Athletes.
Yeah.
They're fucking ridiculous. I once made love. Actually, I've made love to many dancers, but the last dancer I made love to, we were just hanging out and she jokingly like jumped on my back, like piggybacked me, and she wrapped her legs around me. And bro, I thought she was gonna fucking break my spine. It was sexy.
There's a power to that.
Yeah, yeah. My legs are fucking not that great.
Like I'm dating a aerial yoga instructor.
Yes,
and there's power in her. Like one of the things that drew me to her first
was it her chakras.
Besides the chakras, it was her hands. I thought they were beautiful and powerful at the same time.
I love it.
There was just something about her hands that I found incredibly sexy. I was like, and this is maybe because now I'm just getting older. My first thought was, I want to hold her hand.
Oh yeah. All right, that's enough. We don't want to get sued. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So, but going back.
So, do you think this documentary? You and I are both guys who are always like. We're not fuck ups, but we're looking for things, right?
Yeah, we're searching.
We're searchers. Did you get anything from the documentary in terms of like, I gotta think like that, I gotta be like that?
I thought in terms of like how to deal with the pressures of being assumed for one thing, but being who you are for another.
Yeah.
I think that is incredibly awesome.
Right.
What I wanted them to go into more was his faith. They really didn't go into that.
No, they didn't.
You know? And I wanted to know, since he was raised Catholic, I wanted to know more about that.
Yeah.
Because you really don't get that when it comes to Patrick Swayze. So I wanted to know more about like his idea of faith and how faith came into play with being this sex symbol.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be sexy and dealing with the temptations of drugs and alcohol because he had a problem.
He had an alcohol problem for sure.
He had a big drinking problem.
But what's really commendable is he got married very young to a beautiful woman.
Never cheated.
And he was with her until the only time they weren't together is she kicked him out for drinking.
Yep, that was it.
Like, he never, like, through Ghost, through being a sex symbol, through all of that, he probably could have had anybody.
Could you imagine?
And he was, like, with her.
Could you imagine being voted People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive in 1991?
Right.
Having women throw themselves at you, and you do nothing.
Right.
That
he wasn't like Brad Pitt going from one to the other. Fucking.
Well, Brad Pitt was also a single man at that point.
Yeah, but he also swapped in one woman for another. Let's not forget what he did to Jen.
Hey, listen, this is what these Hollywood types do.
But not Swayze. Not Buddy.
But that's why Buddy is a different man.
Yeah.
When in 94, when Brad Pitt became Sexiest Man Alive, 94, Brad Pitt hits differently.
Yeah.
Long hair, scruffy beard. 91, Buddy.
Yeah.
He's looking like a supermodel. Defined cheekbones, square jaw.
What's interesting is he's very tight.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like bringing up Momoa again, like, he's not big.
No.
He doesn't have he's not that mountain of a man. It's all tight.
Well, his shape in Roadhouse was always his shape.
Right.
He might have got a little bit more chiseled for that Chris Farley bit, and he got really lean for Point Break.
Right, because he's supposed to be a
surfer.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's always been in great shape. Even in Chuang Fu.
Yeah.
He's not big.
Yeah.
He's not a big guy, but
it's interesting.
He's still physically imposing.
Oh, no, yeah, because you could see every muscle. It's like you can
fibers.
You can see, and he has full control of his body, which I think is a dancer thing.
Well, it comes from the dancer's thing.
It's
always
interesting.
In control.
I wonder if he were a young man now, if he would go about it a different way.
Probably not, because I think he'd be so unique to Hollywood right now.
I'm just thinking about how he would design his physique. I feel
think
like
he would probably stay the same.
Tight, like the way he isn't in the way it was.
You don't think so?
No, because
I love that look. That's what I do yoga for. Like, and I lift weights differently now. I don't want rippling pecs. I want to be.
But even like
firm.
Chris Evans, who isn't huge, like he's got the big shoulders, he's got the round. You know what I mean? Like Swayze doesn't even have big guns.
No, but it comes to yes and no. He has big guns, but the way his body was and the way like just the muscle fibers and how lean he was, made him the impression that he was a little bit larger than what he was.
Yeah, that's true. You know what really impressed me? When he did Point Break, his character has to skydive, and his brother was like a world-class skydiver. Yeah. So with his brother's guidance, he started skydiving.
Did a dolo,
and they said he would do it every day. Every morning, he'd get up, skydive, and then go to set.
Can you imagine?
But they were keeping it away from the studio because you got to insure him. Yeah. So they would have went crazy. So he was doing it in secret, and they shot it. They shot that scene with a stuntman, but he even said, the last thing we shoot, after we shot everything else, let's shoot me. And then in the movie, it's him.
And that's a beautiful scene. And if you look, there's a fluidity to that whole sequence where like even the way he dives out and the way he swan dives and opens his arms, there's it's almost like he's plieing.
Right, yes. And, with a stuntman, you'd have to fake it in so many ways. The way it is in the movie, it's clearly him.
And that camera's all up in his face.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I find that terrifying, skydiving. Would you ever skydive?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
not. But
not.
I have heard that it is a transformative experience.
Is it? Well,
I had a friend who skydived, and I talked to him the day before and the day after, and he just seemed so much chiller the day after. And I was like, "Tell me about it." And he was like, "Honestly, I wish everyone on Earth could do it."
I'm good.
He's like, "It'll change your life." And then he told me something that was interesting. He was like, "It only feels like falling for like 10 seconds, and then it feels like flying." And that's what almost swayed me. I was like, "Really? I don't know. I don't think I'd do it." because I don't even like fucking roller coasters. I actually I was at a fair recently, and I went on a little loop-de-loop. Right, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I felt like throwing up immediately.
Get me the fuck off.
My old body was. Oh God,
we're not buddy.
I'm not buddy. I'm not a Texan.
Buddy would do it.
I'm not a Texan boy.
See, another thing that I wanted.
When I was a little kid, my mom had me in karate.
Yeah.
And I quit because it was on Saturday mornings, and I wanted to watch Saved by the Bell.
I can't blame you.
I was like, Saved by the Bell's on, and then my mother was like, "Fine, go ahead, quit, walk away." And she was trying to guilt me, but I did it anyway.
You called her bluff.
I was like, "All right, fine."
You're like, fuck you. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I
wish I had stayed with it.
I wanted them to get into all of the stuff about his Buddhism, doing some meditation.
Yeah.
That's the only one thing. If I have to take away one negative from this documentary,
right,
it was that. Because that's what I really wanted to see. You know, him and his wife had a really great story. You know, he met her when he was 18 and she was 14. And they had no kids. Can you imagine a Swayze child?
And she couldn't. She couldn't have a kid.
She couldn't have kids. And
that was the one thing where I disagreed with him, because she was like, "Let's adopt," and he was like, I want to have a kid with you. And I don't know. I'm so for adoption.
So me too.
But I do understand that feeling. He loved her so much.
Yeah.
He like really was like dedicated to her. Do you remember the moment in the documentary where they said this is the moment he became a star?
Yes.
What was the moment? Do you remember?
Oh,
it wasn't a specific movie. It was something else in his public life.
I'm having a brain fart right now.
His publicist said the minute he became a star was when he cried on Barbara Walters.
Yes.
Because Dirty Dancing had come out, and then Barbara Walters asked him about his father, and he started crying. And she was like, once he started crying and you saw that big, strong man show his sensitivity,
it was over.
That's when he was a star.
Was Johnny the epitome of masculine, sexy man in that role?
Oh, yeah.
Because look at what also came out around the 80s. You had those Stallone movies.
Right.
You had like Bruce Willis.
Right. They weren't crying.
No, they weren't crying.
Yeah.
Stallone still don't cry.
Buddy could show you his soft side.
But I think that's because you know, I was and I pulled this quote because I wanted to start looking up some quotes about him.
Mm-hmm.
And this one comes from 1989, and he says that I always felt that there was something different in my personality, but I was scared to look, for I would fear I wouldn't find anything. And he said,
wow.
Yeah.
You know what actually really touched me, and I felt like I totally agree? He was talking about depression, and he was like, I've searched my whole life to find this happiness, and I've realized I'm never going to find it. And then he corrects himself. He's like, look, I'm happy. I love my wife. I love my life. But I'm not happy. And it's that thing that everybody who lives with depression deals with. At some point, it's like you realize this black cloud is going to be with me. And I have to make peace with it.
With it, yeah.
Because if I fight my whole life against it and go, no, I'll cure myself one day and everything will be sunshine and rainbows, you'll be more miserable.
Well, you never really cure yourself of anything.
You can't.
You just learn how to get rid of the emotional rocks that are holding you fuck down.
Right, exactly.
And that's why I think, you know, he went into rehabilitation treatment for alcoholism in the 90s, you know, and that's why he withdrew from Hollywood. Right. For as long as he did.
I was surprised to see that he was a lifelong cigarette smoker.
Right?
I was, for a guy in that shape, but I guess that's the 80s, man.
Well, it's the
People
80s.
would jog and then smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, but also, listen, 80s cowboy culture, let's be real, dude.
I guess.
Motherfuckers are smoking cigarettes, dude.
But he smoked, I think, his whole life.
Yes, he did.
And he died of pancreatic cancer, which is, you can't survive pancreatic cancer because there are no signs of it. No. By the time you know you have it, it's too late.
Yeah, and that's why you got to get checked.
Yeah.
But how do you get checked?
I have no idea. That's how Bill Hicks died too, pancreatic cancer.
Fuck, dude. Fuck.
That's a whole nother mind trip, dying of cancer.
Yeah.
I don't want to fucking... But even that sort of... Not that it was good that he died, it was horrible, but like even that fit in his story of like the strength that he had. Yeah, like
there was this inner strength.
Yeah, like he kept the thing what he said to his brother where he kept doing movies and he was like, why do you keep working? He's like, I don't know how to die. I just know how to live. So I'm just gonna keep making stuff. I don't know how to die. Like that's a really interesting
Swayze's
way of seeing the world,
dude.
Yeah,
that's a deep dude. In July 2008, 6 months after reportedly being given just weeks to live by medical experts, a seemingly healthy Swayze was asked by a reporter in Los Angeles airport about his health. He replied, "I'm cooking. I'm a miracle, dude. I don't know why." The previous month, he reportedly said, "My treatments are working, and I'm winning the battle."
Yeah, he thought he was gonna win, and I guess it's just the positivity. They said he had a 5% chance. You have a 5% chance if they find you have pancreatic cancer, which is like a nothing chance. But he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I'm a world-class ballerina. I'm a world-class fucking skydiver. I'm an actor in Hollywood.
FAA licensed pilot.
Yeah,
did it all.
He was like, I'll fucking do it."
Swayze appeared on the ABC, NBC, and CBS simulcast of Stand Up to Cancer in September 2008.
He got a standing ovation from the crowd. It was beautiful.
To appeal to the public for donations, Swayze said to standing ovation, I dreamt that the word cure will no longer be followed by words of it's possible.
Yeah.
Together we can make a world where cancer no longer means living with fear, without hope, or worse.
Yeah.
God.
Honestly, I started to think, if I was given that diagnosis, how would I deal with it? I would hope. Well, I know. I would. I don't think I'd handle it with the grace he had, but I think I'm strong enough.
I don't know, dude. I think
you have to keep going.
I don't know. I think I'd fucking crumble, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You hear something like that, for automatically, where's your head going?
Right.
You're thinking, fuck, I'm gonna die.
Right. What's gonna happen to my wife? What's gonna happen? Yeah.
The world that I know will continue on without me, but I'm not here. I'm gone. Well, and you know, whether it comes down to your faith or whether it just comes down to, you know, existentialism, whatever. Yeah. When you go, you're fucking gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, are you ready? How do you process
And he's
that?
Pretty young.
And that's the thing I wanted to know, too. They really didn't talk about how he processed that he knew he was ready to go.
I don't know. It seemed like he didn't accept it.
Well, he was trying to be a beacon of hope for everybody else that was going through the same thing that he was going through.
Yeah. You know, those the thing, it's like you have other people talking, and then you have footage.
Yeah.
And you have to sort of
make heads or tails of it.
Yeah, you have to get it out of that.
You know he had a hit song?
Yes. She's like the wind.
Did you ever hear it before that, though?
Yes, I have. I remember it used to be played at like weddings a lot in the 90s.
Yeah. I've played it in weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like during cocktail hour.
How did he fucking write that? Like, that's what's amazing about him. Like, he really was like a Renaissance man.
Well, his wife was the inspiration for that song. Just a fool to believe I am anything she needs. Bring. She's like the wind.
But did he write the music of it? Like, how did he do that? Don't you need training to read music?
Yeah, but to write the song...
Did he just write the lyrics?
Okay, so listen, there's a big difference. Like, so there's the producer who produces and probably well, now producers also make the beats, but you know, so you producer makes the composition, and then I guess they just took it to Patrick Swayze because he probably had a co-writer. Yeah. I would assume. I'm gonna look this up. Let's see. She's like the wind.
She's like the wind.
So She's Like the Wind is a 1987 song from Dirty Dancing performed by Patrick Swayze. Though Swayze is the primary vocalist on the single, it was billed as being a performance by Patrick Swayze and Wendy Frazier. Frazier is heard throughout much of the song, specifically in the final chorus. The power ballad reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Adult Contemporary chart. That's a big fucking deal. Yeah. Swayze and Stacey Wilditz co-wrote the song in 1984.
84.
Yeah.
And it was in his
It was originally intended for the soundtrack Granville, USA, and was meant to be about Jamie Lee Curtis's character in the film. However, the song was not used in that film. During the production of Dirty Dancing in 1987, Swayze played the demo for the producer and director, and they loved it and passed it on to the executive producers of the soundtrack. It was also recorded for the soundtrack in November of 1986, with Michael Lloyd producing the song. Like in the film, it was featured and was successful, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Adult Contemporary. The soundtrack and the album was number 1 for 18 weeks from, listen to this, ready? From December 5th, 1987 to January 9th, 1989, and then 9 weeks from March 12th to May 7th.
Now, here's my question. Yeah. Was Dirty Dancing the number 1 movie?
At the time?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't know where you can find that information because I'm wondering, did he have weeks where he had the number one movie and the number one song
at the same time?
At the same time.
I had to. Time of My Life was a big fucking record too.
Yeah. But I don't know if Dirty Dancing was the number one movie.
At the time?
Yeah.
It had to be. It had to be. Why can't it be?
I don't know what else came out at that time.
Let's see the critical reception of Dirty Dancing. Look up movies that... Dirty Dancing came out in
84, it's got to be.
No, 87. It was released May 12th, 1987. For Cannes Film Festival, and then August 21st, 1987, in theaters domestically. So what?
Okay.
What was the summer of 1987 was what?
Dirty Dancing 30 years later. It's been 30 years since Baby and Johnny had the time of their life. It opened on August 21st, 1987. The original was one of the summer's biggest surprises. It was filmed for $6 million and it made $213 million at box office, plus a long and booming afterlife in video and spinoffs. I still don't know if it was number one.
Let's see.
I got bad news for you.
What
Dirty Dancing never made number one.
No?
In its opening week, it was number 4. In the second week, it was number 3, and then in the third week, it was number 2. See, that's a story that you don't see anymore. Now it's opening week,
gotta be
or
number
bust.
1. Yeah.
To see a movie grow,
yeah, that don't happen anymore.
It was out in the charts for 19 weeks.
Yeah. The soundtrack went to number 1.
Yeah,
that's a good soundtrack though.
But it's it's fucking lasted. Oh, okay, ready? Guess what was number 1 that weekend? I'll just tell you, Stakeout, starring...
Shut up!
What was that? Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss?
How did that beat out Dirty Dancing?
I don't know. You know what else beat out Dirty Dancing?
What?
Number 3 movie that weekend was Can't Buy Me Love.
Shut up!
Starring McDreamy.
Wow. And that was before McDreamy got really good looking.
Yeah. But Dirty Dancing at number 4 did beat out number 6... number 7, which was La Bamba.
That was a good one.
And number 8, which was The Lost Boys. And number 9, which was RoboCop. And number 10, which was Masters of the Universe.
Wow. That's a fucking lineup, dude.
What a fucking weekend.
That's a good weekend.
I don't know if they all came out that weekend, but... Also, Back to the Beach, Full Metal Jacket, The Monster Squad, the Garbage Pail Kids movie. That's at the bottom of the... Wow.
What a fun fucking summer that was.
Boy, the fucking...
And that's before the explosive summer blockbuster of 1989.
August 87. That's where it was at.
Fuck. Do you think Dirty Dancing's his best movie?
Ooh, him in it? Or the best movie he's in?
Isn't that the same thing?
No, because I think one is like, what's his best performance? And then another is, what's the best thing you're involved in?
Yeah.
I would say probably the best movie is Ghost. Yeah.
What, Vin? Come here. But my brother's also crazy for Swayze as well.
Ghost is the best movie he's in. Maybe, if you want to be more artsy, Donnie Darko.
I think Dirty
Which for some reason they don't talk about at all in the documentary.
Yeah,
and I thought that was very brave because he plays like a pedophile in it. He's over there.
No, I'm a Swayze-ac.
Yeah.
Like, totally. I watched the whole documentary. Ghost is his best performance.
It's his best performance or the best movie he's in?
Well, I think the best movie, hands down, is Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
I do. I've been listening to you guys and agreeing about Dirty Dancing, but I think Ghost is his best performance. Dirty Dancing is just a pop culture phenomenon. I don't know, I might say Tu Wong Fu's his best performance. That's what very brave. He dressed up too as a woman for the whole
Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah, that one they went hard on his documentary.
Yeah. He was a bad guy in Point Break.
Well, what I liked about Ghost was the fact that he literally gave the public something to look forward to when people lose a loved one. And there's a lot of people that watched that and watch it to this day and feel connected to the afterlife because of the way he performed in Ghost. Also, that scene with Demi Moore and the pottery... it was iconic. Yeah, that's probably the most iconic
image of him that you can think of. Maybe that or holding up Jennifer Grey. Who, by the way, I know I'm not the first person to say this, but she should have never fucked with her nose. She had a beautiful, like, real world. She doesn't even look like herself anymore.
Well, she's a whole different person now.
It's like she ruined herself.
Yeah. But he was a classically trained ballet dancer, and he did a phenomenal job incorporating that into every role he's ever played.
Yes.
So, yeah, those are my 2 picks. Ghost and Dirty Dancing, hands down.
Pain don't hurt.
But
what are you showing me? Casting director Ardono was adamant that they choose dancers such as Swayze who could also act. He did not want to use a stand-in method that had been used for Flashdance. For the female lead of Frances Baby Houseman, Bergstein chose 26-year-old Jennifer Grey, daughter of Oscar winner Joel Grey. The producers sought a male lead initially considering Billy Zane, though initial screen tests when he was partnered with Grey did not meet expectations. The next choice was 34-year-old Patrick Swayze. He's 34 in that movie, who appeared in Granville, USA, and had co-starred with Grey in Red Dawn. And she didn't like him.
No,
she was like, when they told, she was cast first, and they were like, he's going to be the lead, and she was like, I don't like him.
But then you fall for the spell of Buddy, and you're in.
He was a seasoned dancer. The producers were thrilled with him, but his agent was opposed to the idea. However, Swayze read the script like the multi-level character of Johnny and took the part anyway. And Johnny was changed from being Italian to Irish. Grey was initially not happy about the choice.
I thought Sam Elliott really spoke nicely about Patrick Swayze as well.
Yeah.
Because he was in Roadhouse. Roadhouse is... If I have to choose, like, if I'm going to watch something consistently, if it's on TV, it's Roadhouse.
Roadhouse dude abides.
That's it, pretty much. Buddy.
Tell me something, girl.
Totally wrong movie, but yeah.
But he's in that movie.
Sam Elliott is.
Yeah.
But not Swayze.
I could talk about Sam Elliott on the Swayze episode.
Well, it's because Sam Elliott and Swayze starred in Roadhouse together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who was the nurse in Roadhouse?
Oh.
She's like the love interest.
Yeah, and then Bill Murray always clowns because he's friends with the nurse's husband. No, it's Doc. It's Doc, dude. She plays the doctor in the film The Roadhouse.
You're right. You know what? I need to fucking reevaluate my gender fucking stereotypes. She's a doctor.
She is a doctor.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
I don't know. What the fuck is the matter with you, bro? Get it together. Pay the fuck attention.
Kelly Lynch?
Kelly Lynch.
Yeah, Kelly Lynch. By the way, she's credited as Doc.
Yeah, Doc.
She doesn't even have a name.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Ben Gazzara is the villain.
Yes. And it's funny
He's also the villain in Over the Top, too, right?
No, that's Robert Loggia. It's funny that...
I confused the two.
He pops in 87 with Dirty Dancing, right?
Yeah.
Then he does Roadhouse, Next to Kin, and Ghost and Point Break, 80, 89, 90, 91. And then he had a string of just flops until Chuang Fu.
Here's something else I just found. In 2006, they made Roadhouse 2 Last Call. Not starring him, but starring Jonathan
as his son.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Dalton gets killed. They say that Dalton's killed off in the film.
Okay.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
I'm only watching one Roadhouse. That's it.
What about? How do you feel about Dirty Dancing 2 Havana Nights?
I've never seen it. I will not watch that. If Swayze ain't on it, I'm good.
There's no Swayze.
There's even no reference to Swayze.
No, I think it takes place before the other Dirty Dancing movie. That's a weird movie because it didn't begin as a Dirty Dancing movie, and they reverse engineered it into one.
Yeah, Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Well, Patrick Swayze was a great man. Do you have anything you want to say before we close this up?
I would just say go on a Crazy for Swayze binge, and watch Red Dawn. Watch The Outsiders. Watch Chuang Fu.
Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Yeah. Obviously Ghost and Dirty Dancing. But like there's some shit you can watch from him.
And like I was saying, I think him. He had a very small role in Donnie Darko, but I think it was brave of him to take that role because it's sort of like making fun of himself a little bit. He plays this overly energetic like dance teacher, and then in the story we find out that he's like a child pornographer, which for somebody who's as as light as Swayze, to say yes to that role, I thought was really interesting.
Well, apparently he was in Dirty Dancing Havana Nights.
He was?
Yeah, he played dance class instructor.
Oh, so it was a little cameo.
There was a little cameo.
Oh, okay.
He also did a Christmas movie.
What Christmas movie?
Called Christmas in Wonderland.
That could not have been good.
I don't think so either. I wonder why it's not on Hallmark.
To be a Christmas movie and not even make it to Hallmark, that's...
I was in the 25 Days of Christmas on ABC's programming.
Oh, okay.
But it was poorly received from the public. So, but I think that was in 07. So he was sick at that point.
I feel like we should give him credit for the Fast and Furious franchise.
Well, how so?
Because the first Fast and Furious is just a shameless copy of Point Break, where it's car racing instead of surfing. It's the exact same plot.
Oh, yeah, totally. You know what he was in, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he was in an episode of MASH called Blood Brothers.
You know I haven't seen any episodes of MASH.
Why don't you watch MASH?
Because it's depressing. And I don't want to watch a show with a laugh track, but it's clearly shot on one camera.
It's good.
Okay.
MASH is good. You're a fucking hater when it comes to Alan Alda.
No, I like Alan Alda.
Criminally slept on. Criminally. But he was in an episode called Blood Brothers where, and this is fucking eerie. The doctors do a blood test on him to see if he can give his blood to his boy who got shot up pretty bad, and they find out that he has leukemia.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at his IMDb. He was in something called Steel Dawn. That can't be related to Red Dawn, right? He plays Nomad. In Red Dawn he plays Jed. All right, maybe they're just
two movies with almost the same plot.
Yeah.
Well, Red Dawn came out first, and Steel Dawn came out. Let's see, what is Steel Dawn about? Post-apocalyptic science fiction film. Yeah, all right, it's a science fiction western. We should watch that. Liam Neeson's in it. I'm gonna try that out.
That might be good.
All right, it's time to binge watch some Swayze.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
We end every episode of Pop Culture Man Children quoting the great scholar, philosopher, drummer, animal from Muppet Babies. Go bye-bye.
Go. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She's like the wind.